Whenever a company puts the word pro in front of any of their products, it gives us as a consumer the ability of anticipating some unique features that we haven't seen from them before. Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to review the brand new Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. This pair of in-ear earbuds are providing us a unique experience from Samsung that we haven't seen before from any of their true wireless earbuds. So without further ado, this is TK and this is my review of the brand new Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. And I'm trying to figure out, do they live up to that $199 price tag that they're demanding? Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that like button so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So this is the package for the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. Again, latest edition just announced at the same time as the Galaxy S21 line of devices. Now obviously these are not unique to them. They do have a specific feature that only the brand new One UI 3.1 will be available on, obviously, the Galaxy devices. So that's basically their 360 sound experience, very similar to what we've seen with AirPods and of course Apple products. Unfortunately, I don't have my S21 yet, which I will definitely cover or at least review that once I get my units. But as far as the actual headphones and what we get in the box, we pretty much get the earphones themselves. They're inside of their own charging case and of course a charging cable, a USB Type A to USB Type C. Other than that, the packaging is pretty straightforward. They're advertising here a two-way speaker for rich sound. Essentially, they're talking about an 11mm basically woofer that's built in here in each earpiece, as well as a 6.5-inch tweeter that's built in there, which it's going to have basically give us that experience of the richer audio experience. Active Noise Cancellation with pass-through audio. And when it comes to usability here, they're showing 5 hours and 18, and that's basically if you're using Active Noise Cancellation or Bixby Voice, which also is one of the features of this unit. If you're using them combined together, you're getting about 4.5 hours up to 16 hours. If you're using one or the other, you'll get that 518. And if you turn off ANC and Bixby Voice altogether, you're able to go all the way from 8 hours with a fully charged earbud all the way up to 28 hours with the case that's included. Now, they're rated to be IPX7, which means they'll be able to withstand submersion in water up to 30 minutes, which is something to keep in mind. So that means they should be able to handle all your exercise and all your on-the-go move and needs just easy. But when it actually comes to the unit itself, you'll notice that the container or the casing itself looks very, very similar to what we've seen last year with the Samsung Galaxy Buds Live, because for the most part, it's the exact same casing except a different finish. So not as reflective, definitely more of a matte finish. And you can kind of see it right there, tuned or basically sound by AKG, which was one of Samsung's acquisitions not that long ago. We have wireless charging on the bottom and USB-C charging on the back, very much in the same fashion as we've seen them before. We have an LED light there indicating whenever we're charging them. Another LED light on the inside indicating the status of the actual earbuds themselves. And you can see here we have a left and a right earbud. They're provided, or they're going to be sold in 3 different colors. I decided to go with this one. Now, one thing to keep in mind that they are very much reflective. Once we take out the earbuds themselves, there's a right and left indicator, and they are charged via pin connectors. It's on the inside. And of course, you're going to see basically the 2 connectors, the in-ear detection, as well as the array of microphones that we have present here. One of them actually present all the way in the front, covered by a nice little mesh fabric here, metallic mesh to cover it itself. And as far as the case itself, it is magnetically closed, so you can definitely see here, no issue, it's not going to drop, and you can see the LED turned on there. And this is the LED that you're going to be using, or at least looking at whenever you're charging it, either wirelessly or via wire. And as far as it comes to the actual earbuds themselves, they are magnetically placed in here, so they do snap in whenever you're charging them. I would probably say that just a gentle tap won't drop them, but if you put enough pressure, they will definitely fall. One thing to notice about the actual earbuds themselves is that they have a very low profile, which means is whenever we insert them in our ear, they're not going to stick out too much. And that's one of the main benefits here. So you could definitely see there, there's no chance of it getting tangled into anything, and it sits quite nicely in our ears. So that works in a couple of ways. It allows it to actually have less wind drag, meaning if you're outdoors and you're walking around, the wind will less likely hit it as it actually has less of the surface available for the wind to touch on it. So that's the first feature. We do have in-ear detection, which means if I take them out and put them back on, whatever audio I'm listening to will pause and resume. That's definitely very nice there. There's a proximity sensor in there. And then, of course, the ability of actually seeing how does the audio sound and what is the range. That's also a big thing for me. Whenever we think of a truly wireless pair of earbuds, how far can I go from them before I start losing quality of audio or even touch response? So We're going to do a couple of tests. I have a video or a few videos in there that I want to compare for you guys. First and foremost, we're going to do a mic test, which means I'm going to record a video using the audio from these earphones or earbuds, but I'm also going to compare them to the Galaxy Buds Live as well as the Galaxy Buds Plus. So the successors of the Galaxy Buds Plus, let's go ahead and see that. And we're also going to talk about the range. How far can I go and put my phone down and not have to worry about, missing out on audio or any kind of experience from my new Galaxy Buds Pro. Now, as far as the actual audio that we want to be able to test out here, I wanted to give you guys an example of how does noise isolation or subject isolation as far as audio comes about. So I'm actually shooting this in front of my desktop PC, which has quite a loud fan, and I'm not sure if you guys can hear it. But the main intention here is to see how the audio quality comes from the brand new Buds Pro. Of course, we're going to compare them to the Galaxy Buds Live as well as the Galaxy Buds Plus. So let's go ahead and switch over to the Buds Live. Now we went ahead and switched over to the Galaxy Buds Live. Again, these were released around the Note 20 line of serial devices, so this was actually more recent. And I think that the audio on these definitely, just from a listening experience, sound very good. But let's see how they sound comparably to the Buds Pro when it comes down to the microphones. So again, this is a quick audio sample of the Galaxy Buds Live comparing them. So let's go ahead and switch over to the Buds Plus. Now we switched over to the Galaxy Buds Plus. These were announced at the same time as the Galaxy S20 line of devices last year. So in theory, the Buds Pro are actually a successor to these, since these are the same style. As the Buds Live, for some reason, they look different, obviously, a different style. We'll see if there's a successor later on this year. But again, this is a comparison for audio experience when it comes down to recording video or even phone calls on the microphones that we have here on the Buds Plus when it compares to the Buds Live as well as the Buds Pro, obviously the star of this show. We're going to do a quick sample of how far am I able to go from the actual headphones. So I've already done this test, and we're just going to demonstrate to you guys from more of a video style exactly how long the distance is and what are the obstacles between me and where this is actually going to be sitting. So that's direct line of sight, and obviously the audio did not cut off. So for a point of reference now, there is actually a house between me and the phone, and it's about maybe 2, maybe 3 walls, depending where it is. Also, we're outside, so this is obviously going to be, I think, an audio example of how it sounds like outside. But that's a great range on a pair of headphones from Samsung. The audio doesn't cut out, there's no issues, and it stays connected. So as you saw there with the video, the audio on the Buds Pro definitely sound the best. They're very close to the Galaxy Buds Live, so that's something to keep in mind, and we'll circle back to that at the end. But as far as the Galaxy Buds Plus, they're definitely a big improvement overall, not only from sound quality, but also for mic quality, as well as actual range. As you notice at the end of that video, I actually had the house in between me and where the phone was sitting, and I lost no quality of audio. Touch response was very nice, and I was able to maintain a conversation. So two-way audio was working perfectly. So that's something that is truly indicative of a pro pair of headphones. But is that really enough for it to demand the $200 price tag? Let's dive into the app and see some of those unique features there. For us to be able to configure all of the features that come with the Buds Pro, you do need to download the Wear app. Now, I do have a few earbuds that are connected here. So here's the Galaxy Buds Plus, and here's the Galaxy Buds Live. So the main thing that you want to make sure here, obviously, is connect them, download them, and of course, download any additional updates that you need. There's a feature here to be able to turn on Active Noise Cancellation off or Ambient Sound, which allows the audio to come in from the outside. And then you have the ability of customizing the different levels of ambient sound. So you notice right there, it's actually a level in here. Now with the previous generations of Galaxy Buds before, we had the ability of getting that feature within the settings in the advanced settings. And if I turn on the Active Noise Cancellation, we have the high and low. Now, I want to talk to you guys about those Pro features. That's something that's unique to the Galaxy Buds Pro. And that's the ability of using this voice detection option. So here, I'm going to turn off this option. I'm going to turn this on. And this is a feature that enables the earphones themselves to recognize whenever you're talking. So they listen to you. And whenever you talk, if you're listening to music, it's going to switch over to ambient to allow you to actually finish that conversation. And whenever I pause talking, it will go back. So an example would be here. I'm going to go ahead and start a song. And as you can see right there, I'm going to go ahead and start the song. I'm going to turn this feature on. Now, if I want to actually talk to somebody that's walking next to me, you'll notice what essentially happens is that the volume of the song goes down. It doesn't shut it off, but it turns on ambient sound to whatever preset I have. And once I go quiet for about a few seconds, and this feature will work really nicely whenever you have it and you're, let's say, outdoors, you're listening to music and you get on the subway or you're doing something and you want to be able to communicate with people, but you don't want to get your phone out or you don't want to double tap on the earpiece. So this works really good. Although here's where it kind of doesn't work for some people. If you're one of those people that loves to jam with your music, turn this feature off. Because the moment you start talking, let's say you're listening to a song, you want to start singing with it, The moment it recognizes your voice, it shuts it down or puts it down into a low volume for the song and starts listening to you. So the feature works perfectly great for what it's intended for, but if you are, again, a person that likes to sing with their music, this is something to keep in mind. So very nice pro feature that we have in there. And of course, we have the ability of turning off touches, which is something very interesting as well, because once you turn them off, none of the functions work. It pretty much just works as listening, and everything is controlled from your phone. Now, as far as the touch and hold functionality, there's two options, one on the left ear, one on the right ear. You have volume up, Spotify, and as well as basically the voice command and the switching noise control. So voice command initiates the assistant on my Galaxy here on the Z Fold 2. So one thing to keep in mind though is you're also able to switch profiles between one to the other. Meaning if I turn this feature off, let's say we're back with noise cancellation, I'm going to put my finger on my left earpiece, switches over from one profile to the other. So essentially I'm able to actually activate it and deactivate it by just pressing and holding. So a lot of really nice gestures there as well. So those are the two, touch and hold. You still have basically the standard options where if you press once, you'll basically pause and unpause. Double pressing on each earpiece will do skip track. So that's also a feature that's built in. And again, in-ear detection is always on. That's nothing you have to configure. There's a built-in EQ here, similar to what we've seen in the past. I have it set to dynamic. Now, as far as read notifications allowed, this is pretty standard. If you have your phone off and it's in your pocket and you're not actually interacting with it with any other device, let's say even a Galaxy Watch, it will read the notifications. So if you receive a text message or a call, it'll announce it directly into the earbuds. As far as advanced features here, we have a couple of features. We do have a hearing enhancement here, the ability of increasing the levels, actually tuning it to the right or to the left, depending on how your hearing profile is. Seamless earbud connection, that's that feature that I talked to you guys about, transitioning from one Samsung logged in device to another. So like a Tab S7 Plus to the Z Fold 2 or to an S20. As long as they're Samsung devices running the latest software, this feature should work perfectly for you guys. We also have the ability of using Bixby Voice, which is a feature that's built in here. This is one of those two things I was talking to you guys before. This will unfortunately keep the microphones on most of the time. It does impact battery life, but it doesn't impact it to the point where they're not usable. So with ANC and Bixby Voice, you get 4.5 hours per each earbud and up to 16 hours with a fully charged case. Now, of course, the Bixby service here works really nice. What's the weather like today? And it works just the same as you've used Bixby before if you prefer Bixby as a service. If you prefer to keep using the Google Assistant, just keep the feature here on the touch sensitivity and make sure that it says voice command. It'll be able to initiate the actual option here. So I can press and hold, and the voice assistant will turn on for me. And again, it works the same way as if I just did the command voice. Now, one of the other options they have in here is the gaming mode option, which you're able to turn on. Unfortunately, I would probably say this now as opposed to try to kind of make it sound like they do play well. You're able to play general games that don't require very low latency to audio. So if you're talking about just general play games, watching movies, everything, that's going to work fine. Anything that has latency issue, that latency could impact the gameplay, like PUBG or Fortnite and things like that, I personally wouldn't recommend these as gaming headphones, as unfortunately the delay on them is quite high. Now we have the ability of doing Find My Earbuds, and of course we have the ability of resetting them and using the general option to get the user manual. Earbud software update, this is where you'll be able to check and see if there's any updates available. I did install the first update that came in, and that actually just got them running at the latest version of the software from Samsung. So now that we've covered all of the features, what you can do with them, let's start talking about audio quality. Personally, I've been comparing them mostly to the Buds Plus and the Buds Live because those are the pair of headphones that Samsung has provided us in the past. And again, these are pro pair of in-ear earbuds, and we're supposed to see some new improvements and some optimizations that give us that pro feature, right? We're using the word pro, meaning these are definitely a lot better than what we've seen in the past. So when I compare them to the Galaxy Buds Live, their more recent predecessors, I would probably say, they're not necessarily the direct connection because they're definitely a very different experience. I probably would say on the sound quality, for the most part, they both sound very similar. Definitely higher on the bass and more punchy on the bass. You could definitely feel the bass in there. And because these are in ear as opposed to just resting in our ear, they definitely sound a little bit better when it comes down to the bass. So, but not enough for me to say that they're definitely that much of an improvement. So meaning they sound very close to the Buds Live, and the Buds Live definitely have very good drivers built into them as well. Now, when it comes down to actual audio quality, I noticed that basically the Buds Pro do definitely sound a little bit better. On the other end, when I tested it with a few people, they all said that the Buds Pro sounded very nice and they were able to actually pick up my voice even when I was speaking very softly, which means this is actually something that they've focused on. The ability of getting good call quality, and of course, indoor or outdoor call quality is a very big focus for them here with the earbuds. When it came down to the actual audio performance overall, I think they sound really good. They're definitely tuned to give us a little bit more bass, so rock music, EDM, any kind of rock music that has some bass into it. Whenever you hit that drop, it's definitely going to sound very nicely. They're not going to sound as the best. I can probably say that there are some other headphones or in-ear earbuds that sound better, but again, when we compare everything to what Samsung is providing, these are the best earbuds that they provide to date. The range on these things are ridiculously far. So you can go up to 30 feet away, direct line of sight, or even if you put some obstacles between yourself and your smartphone. And it seems like it actually works quite well. You'd be able to use them obviously with any device that uses Bluetooth. These are just basically Bluetooth headphones. Customizing them unfortunately requires the app. So if you're using them with the PC or anything that does not have the ability of downloading the app, unfortunately, you're pretty much just stuck with what default mode that they come out of the box with. One of the things that concerned me about this is that they actually have a feature in there, or an option to be able to turn on gaming mode. Now, unfortunately, when I tested it out with the Samsung device, which again is supposed to be the best option to use with these earphones or earbuds, the gaming mode didn't really give me that much of an improvement. For the most part, the latency, when it comes down to basically audio latency for when the audio is generated, when I hear it in my ear, it definitely was about the same. It didn't really improve much, and it was actually pretty high compared to some of the other options that we've seen. So for the most part, media consumption, listening to music, I think you're going to be definitely very pleased. The ability of turning on that auto listen feature is definitely very unique. And again, unless you're a person that likes to sing to their own music, you're pretty much going to be pretty nicely treated there, because it allows you to switch between ambient and ANC on the go without even having to touch anything. And it does it really nicely. And I feel like that's a very unique feature that we haven't seen in that many earbuds like this before. The gaming mode, again, that's depending on your preference, but when it comes down to the buds from Samsung, since the original Buds Plus, Buds Live, the original buds, I feel like these are the best that they have to offer, and I would hope basically that you guys would get the same experience if you decide to pick them up. I hope that you guys find this video helpful and it helped you make a decision as to should you or should you not get the Galaxy Buds Pro. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next video.